What's up everyone and welcome to the channel. So today we get to take a look at the last year for the Chevrolet Camaro. This is a 2024 6th generation 2SS. Huge shout out to Randy Marion Chevrolet for providing this muscle car for me today. Definitely take a look at their website. That link is down in the description. So this 2024 is finished off in red hot. MSRP is just over $56,000. And this is powered by the naturally aspirated 6.2 liter V8 paired to the 10-speed automatic transmission. It pumps out 455 horsepower, 455 pound-feet of torque. That power sent to the rear wheels. This weighs in right around 3,900 pounds. It'll do 0 to 60 around 4 seconds. It has a top speed of 165 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 19 gallons. You'll expect to see around 16 miles per gallon in the city, 24 out on the highway. This also has a wheelbase of 110.7 inches. Its overall length is 188.6. It has a width of 74.4 and a height of 53.1 inches. As we move on to the exterior styling now for the last year for the Camaro, let's start off with the hood. For this 2SS, this does have a functional heat extraction vent up top, finished off in matte black. Very nice design, especially with the lines that run down both sides. And then the front end is unchanged for this 6th generation. Bow ties right in the middle. There's some more gloss black for the upper grille with the SS badge. And then of course this does have LED headlights, DRLs, and turn signals. There's also some DRLs in the middle section of the bumper there as well. But the entire upper section is the same height. So very thin and recessed a little bit. The entire lower section, a lot more cutouts. There's even inlets on both sides to provide additional cooling and a small air dam just underneath that. And then of course more red in that lower section. Now as we work our way to the side, this has a really nice set of 20-inch wheels. I love the combo with the red and this brushed silver. This also has the Brembo brakes in all 4 corners. There's the Camaro badge just behind that tire. Body colored for the side mirrors, and this model even has the sunroof too. All of the window trim is blacked out, and then it has a really good design. This model has been going on for about 8 years for this 6th generation. Not too many changes for it, but it has a good side design to it with that coupe-like look, and then some nice lines that run down the lower section of that door. And then in back, this has a decent size body colored spoiler. There's the third brake light, the 3D dimensional design for those LED taillights. This has a backup camera, all of the parking sensors, and then the quad tip dual exhaust, which you can start up because we do have remote start. Let's take a listen. And nothing beats the sound of that naturally aspirated V8. But as we work our way to the cargo space, the Camaro does give you the button up underneath, so you don't have to reach for your key fob, which is very convenient. Now the one thing with the Camaro is that the opening is a little bit narrow, but once you get your items in, there's a decent amount of space for this 4-seater. The back seat does fold down as well. If you have some longer items and you can get them in there, that makes it a little bit more practical. A little bit of storage is underneath the floor as well. It's not big enough for a spare tire, but you could place some smaller items there if you needed to. And the Camaro has this really nice arch with all those lines just above that rear tire as well. We have the button to lock and unlock. And then looking at this door panel, there's a combination of leather along with the brushed aluminum. This has the interior lighting, all of the memory seating controls, window adjustments, Bose audio. There's even the trunk release and then a little bit of storage in that lower section. Camaro is also spelled out on the door sill. And take a look at these leather Recaro seats. They're suede running down the inserts along with the two-tone design, and they are automatic seats. Very comfortable, sporty design too. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the back seats. You are not buying this Camaro for a full 4-seater, but you do have to move this seat forwards once you have released that backing. And at 5'10", if I crawl my way into the back, you'll notice no legroom on that passenger side. So if you have someone in the back, you have to be accommodative for the people up front. You get a wireless charger right in the middle there, and then some small windows, really nice attention to detail for the seats, and an armrest. Now, like I said, you're not buying this to put people in the back. Really, maybe you could put your kids in if you have some young kids. At 5'10", obviously I'm not upright. If I needed a ride around town, this could work. So it's practical for that, mainly for extra interior storage. And then you can pull that tab to fold that seat down as you saw earlier. And it's a little bit of a process to jump back out But once you're out, now we have the front seats, which are of course a lot more comfortable. It is a low vehicle, so it's easy to enter. Now this 2SS has the suede steering wheel. It's the flat bottom design with that SS badge. We have the paddle shifters. On this left side, there's also the heated steering wheel control along with cruise control. We have favorites down below. On the right side, there's volume, and then voice commands and Bluetooth, and all these controls for the gauge cluster. But before we get to that, let's fire this back up and take a listen to that V8. And coming back to the gauge cluster, left side there's the tach, right side is miles per hour. There's also fixed information running across the top of that LCD screen for your fuel, engine, and oil temperature along with battery voltage. And then underneath that, we can go through some trip information. You also have your range along with some other vitals that you can monitor, TPMS. You have a few timers that you can go into. If I scroll back, now we can go into the performance tab. So you have a lot more vitals that you can monitor as well in this tab here. And just depending on what you would like to see, we can also go into audio, so you can pull up your music, and then there's navigation, phone, and settings as well. So you can go into launch control to activate that and even change your units. So there's a good bit of info right in the middle, which is nice that you can quickly go through all of that. And then over on the left side, this does have a head-up display. So we have the controls for that along with a dimmer switch. Currently, the head-up display is showing miles per hour along with the radio. We can pull up the compass. There's the tach as well. We have just miles per hour and then back to the radio. So a few different settings as well there. And then we have the entire dash, which does have plastic on it. And then right in the middle for the touchscreen system, it's very simple to go through. We have all these icons. There's Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. You have different settings to go into. You can get into your climates, even your ambient lighting, so you can adjust all of that, which is nice. And then the last screen has the split style for your music and your phone. There's also shortcuts in the lower section to quickly get through all this information. So it's laid out well and it gives you what you need to drive this every day. There's a physical button for home, there's tuning, back, and then power and volume for the radio. Now this does have heated and ventilated seats, so those controls are on both sides. And then for the temperature, you will notice right now, you can use the vent surround in order to adjust that. Fan speeds in the middle, there's where you like the air to go, all of the recircs. Hazard button is down below. And when we put this into reverse, we have that backup camera. You have a few guidelines that you can adjust. We have more Alcantara for this entire lever. And then you can also shift using the shifter itself or those paddle shifters. Now behind that, there's traction control along with a few different driving modes. There's Tour, Sport, Track, and Snow and Ice. And then there's the e-brake, a 12-volt, 2 cup holders, and a little bit of storage in that armrest, as well as in the glove box too. And then up top, there's some OnStar controls along with the sunroof adjustments. The sunshade is manual adjusting, and then you have those controls. And this even gets the digital rear view mirror. So I know a lot of comments on the Camaro is that the visibility is poor. Flip that up, and now you have pretty much a 180 degree behind you. Now without that camera, yes, that pillar is a little bulky, but with the windows on both sides and your side mirror, it's honestly not that bad. Even over this shoulder with that pillar there, you can look around it, and then you can even look out the back there. But now let's go ahead and get the last Camaro out on the road. As we set off now behind the wheel and the last drive for the Chevrolet Camaro, this has been one of my favorite muscle cars to drive simply because I don't see them as often as I see Mustangs and Challengers. I think the Camaro is a little bit more smaller, compact, a little bit more nimble. They're all going to have their pros and cons, but I think the Camaro is one of my favorites if I had to go with a muscle car. But we are in the last year for this, and we are going to have some fun. So let's put it into sport mode. We have it in the manual setting, so we can use these paddle shifters. So with a mild acceleration, here we go. It's hard to argue the sound of that V8, and of course, if I was ripping on it, it would sound even more good, as well as putting on an aftermarket exhaust for this Camaro. Now, it's very interesting to see that this is the last year for the Chevrolet Camaro. I feel like with the demand for muscle cars, Chevy is either coming up with something different for 2025. I'm not sure. I haven't seen anything regarding what could possibly replace this, or they're just going to go away from the muscle cars. They have discontinued a few other of their vehicles. Nothing with the muscle car world though. They still have the Corvette C8, which is not going away. They have the E right now. Maybe the Camaro will have some kind of replacement that is got some electric hybrid something system to it. Kind of sad to see that, because you know, a lot of us car enthusiasts love vehicles like this. We love the NA engines. Some of them are turbos, twin turbos, which is still fine nonetheless. It's weird to see in the world that we live in now why, you know, these bigger engines are going away when a lot of us still love them. They're not quite as popular, of course, as other vehicles, but if you want a Camaro, this is it for the 6th generation. And it's a fun car. I've been able to drive a lot over the years for this 6th generation, and it's fun. It's got a good interior to it. I love the materials for this particular model. They haven't made too many updates. They do have a last call or a special edition appearance package, so we'll see if maybe that's a special package where there's something different on the interior. But it is interesting to see that it's kind of been the same over the years with very, very minor changes. Maybe 25, they'll come up with something that can replace this that is just as fun to drive and probably has even more power than this. If they add a hybrid system, electric system, something like that. But this is fun. It's practical too for what it is. You got the interior space. It's comfortable to drive. A lot of people daily drive the Camaro, so it's definitely something that a lot of people are going to miss. And in sport mode, 2nd gear, here we go. Mild acceleration, and it still sounds good. This is a car that, like I said, you can drive every single day. You can take this to the mountains, take it to the track. You have a pretty well-rounded two-door sports car. If this is something that you're looking to daily drive, if it's your only vehicle, it gives you that added practicality to make it work the best for any situation, really. And the Camaro has so many different trim levels and options that you can go with. You can start off with a base Camaro, even get a 4-cylinder, which is going to cost you low $30,000 range. You can go all the way up to the ZL1s, which are close to 6 figures. Automatic, manual, you have an array of options for this car. So if you are in the market, you are wanting a Camaro, 2024 is going to be it. So spec yours now, get it while you can, because that is going to be the farewell for the Camaro. Now let's just go back to driving it from this angle. Paddles are very responsive. I do wish they were a little bit larger, but they are functional if you want to go with the 10-speed, and the 10-speed seems to be pretty smooth too. So I don't really have any concerns with how it drives with the 10-speed. I'd say it's kind of similar to the Ford 10-speed. And just to look at visibility from the driver's seat here, like I mentioned earlier, we have some small windows. We have a very, very low windshield too. So it's kind of hunkered down feeling, but it's really not all that bad, even with that rear view camera, which is a huge plus for this. I own an Audi R8, and to me, this visibility is very, very good. It's something that you shouldn't let hinder you from buying this car. And it's also super easy to maneuver. So parking lot situations, things like that, is going to be easy to maneuver. But let's do one last acceleration. And that is going to wrap it up for our last drive in the 2024 Chevrolet Camaro 2SS. Once again, a huge shout out to Randy Marion Chevrolet for providing this for me today. Check out their website, give this video a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and consider smashing that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. And I will see you all in the next video.